What is good, YouTube? This is Dayfri. Come back at y'all with another video. I haven't posted in like 3 weeks probably. Just a lot of family stuff going on. My girlfriend's going through a lot, but Bear kind of hit me up. Didn't really hit me up, just tweeting saying like we got to kind of carry the load of content and whatnot. And I wanted to show y'all kind of part two to the press video and the rotation video. So we'll go ahead and just get back into it. So my buddy Crush, this lockdown right here, he showed me this little app. You can have a little pin on the screen. You see that? It's pretty cool, ain't it? But yeah. So right here, obviously I don't know how to work it yet. So I showed y'all how to run the press with you have the center basically guarding the hash, right? Like basically the center is the guy chasing around the shooting guard. Well, when you play better shooting guards or you play shooting guards that wrap a lot coming up the court, or you're just kind of struggling getting into your defense out of this press, you can bring it to where you have, we call it three guard. So this is three guard. And all this is we're going to have Greens right here. Obviously, we still have Glenn and we still have Crush. Both of them right here. I know I'm not the greatest at this. And this allows us to basically have me and Dini on the back end. So whenever this happens, right? Whenever this happens, we can basically switch off. Oh, let me take this off quick, Jesus. So basically, we can switch off no matter what happens, right? So if this guy wraps, so this is still gonna keep Dini on pick and roll, and this also sets us up where we can run triangles. We can still run our rotations how we want. But basically, the reason we run this is if we got a guy like this is Killy right here, Jumper. They rap a lot. We played them a lot, so they kind of knew how to beat our original press. So basically, we run this right here, and no matter what happens, me or Dini will be on the pick and roll. And this also helps too when you have like aggressive centers. Like Oreo's real aggressive, so he's gonna try to like slip this, so I can play him for a minute if he throws the early slip pass, and I can still play this corner. Dini's obviously releasing right here. This was kind of tough because this kind of shows you. I just wanted to put this one here because it shows you if you reach. So if Dini just sits there and doesn't press a button, he could play both of these, and then he could just run straight to the paint. Boom, we're there. But obviously reach, it happens, whatever. So that's like basically the gist of the first one. So this one, oh yeah, I think this is a steal, yeah. So on this one, right, it's gonna be the same setup. So obviously three guard. We still have Greens. He's coming here to take this away. Me and Dini, Raph, and Glenn doing their thing. Obviously, we don't play as much anymore, but everybody on the team knew how to run this basically to a T. Probably, I think this was Green's favorite defense, honestly. So, like, same thing, though. We're going to get straight into it. When this happens, so whenever you run three guard, too, this also puts more pressure on the shooting guard because usually whenever I have to guard this or like any other center, they have to gap it because the shooting guard can just outrun them basically to a spot. But the thing about Greens, obviously, he's a guard, so he can get up here. And this leaves, Glenn basically solo press and jumper. This leaves basically our best defender in the lanes, basically playing safety. And it allows Greens kind of to get involved too. So if he gets, he gets the steal, he's on the break right away, which way you want to do it. So go ahead and get into it. Glenn misses it a minute, but watch this. This is elite by Raph. Raph fakes the blitz. And look, I'm also playing this, so if he slips this, I can play that pass if he throws it. I can still play this pass to the corner, and Dini obviously can still play this pass, and Greens is just holding it. Raph fakes the blitz. Basically, Jumper thought he was going to get blitzed. Raph baits it. We're going the other way. So, like, kind of to get back into this a little bit, too, to show y'all, but, like, the reason why three guard works so good, especially it's a better press to run, especially if you don't have guys that are super smart on your front court, because like it's hard to like teach your center to chase around, to chase this guy around for the whole possession, right? But when we have it like this, where we can have Glenn basically put pressure on him here, Raph can take him away right here, and then we still have Greens who's basically staying here. And I can still play everything basically in this little area. This is all me if he slips. Dini's basically can play from here all the way here. So, like, the whole point of this press is to put pressure on, basically the point guard, which obviously works here. But my point, the reason why I think it's better if you're kind of new to the press or whatever, it allows your guards to get more involved, right? I feel like that's a big thing, right, in 2K. If your guard, especially if you have your shooting guard and hash, your point guard, like, he's not getting no fast break points. If he's struggling on the half court, they have an issue sometimes with, guarding the corner not being involved. This is a way to kind of get your guards all involved, and it keeps your front court players involved too. Your power forward and center, no matter which way it happens. If hold on, let me see this next one. If basically that guy wraps it, and he, basically puts a front court player on, that side anyway. So if he wraps and he's on my side, greens would just release to my corner, and I would go to the pick and roll. The same thing as the last time. The lockdown can't get beat to the hash. Like if you're basically guarding, the press how you're supposed to, your help is all middle, because whoever's going to be guarding your pick and roll, they're coming from the opposite corner, so they're going to be stepping your middle instead of your hash. So that's a big thing too. I think this is So this is just kings. A lot of people were asking me, hey, can you do more? I did like stack in the last video. I kind of talked about this rotation, but like this is kind of the rotation that took over Proam, and it's in a sense. So like we basically invented it on the Wizards, last year, whatever. We run, a million rotations, but all it is, right? So obviously he wraps, I get out of there, I'm on the single side. Well, he gives it the tie, and I want you to see this. The good thing about this rotation is your power forward can play how he wants. So like Dini, he doesn't blitz us right here, but the point of this rotation is you're going to take away his whole middle if you're the pick and roll defender. And also, if I want y'all to see this too, so like we have our shooting guard on their shooting guard, our lockdowns here. So this is basically a free rotation for me and Raph. Our two best defenders probably out in this little triangle right here. You want us moving in the situation, right? So like all this is gonna happen is whenever this guy goes here, Dini's gonna step super, super high here where he can still play that lane. I'm just gonna drop here, Raph's going here, and then Dini's going to this thing, he's staying on ball. So a lot of people know this rotation in the comp community. For the guys that don't really play the game like that, this is like super broken down. Another good thing about this too is like whoever's on your single side in this, they can usually get a free steal. So like a lot of teams run triangle. If you run two power forwards, whatever you run, this guy right here can kind of do his thing. Like he can just kind of bait and maybe get a free steal, but we'll just watch it unfold. So whenever he goes middle, boom. So look, you see it right away, right? So whenever he goes middle, I'm gonna pause it. Dini's super high, and Glenn can play this like how he did because it doesn't really matter. But he can play super high, and I can kind of just sit here and play both of these lanes. The thing about Raph too is he's gonna delay this and then go to the corner, so he can play that lane to the corner and still play his hash. And you can see here, this guy wants to shoot, right? Like the shooting guards, especially the rotations work a lot on the shooting guards because they want to score. When you do these rotations against point guards, you gotta run them a little slower because the guys, they're a little bit better passers, whatever. But the shooting guards, you can run these a lot. So we call this kings. I can't spell, so we'll just put kings, right? And the reason why this is called kings is because I used to play with a guy named Jarcity. Anybody that watched my videos, he called it kings for some reason. I think it's because Crush and them ran this rotation a lot in the league. But we'll just play it. So boom, Dini's still here. And the thing is, too, is like he has to look for the shot. Dini plays this perfectly, right? I reached a little too early, but look, there's 11 seconds left. They have their point guard or their center with the ball. Nothing's there. So that's basically kings. I'm going to show you more clips of that, but not the same one. No, it's not. I think this is a red, if I remember correctly. Why is this not playing? Oh, I love this. Sorry, man. So this is reverse, right? So this is Raph that kind of put me on game. We kind of ran on the Wizards. We didn't run it that much because it's really, really hard to like master this. You have to have really good chemistry with your team. But if you've been playing with your teammates for X amount of time, I feel like you can really run this and you can really have teams in a spot where they don't know what's going on. So Raph is solo pressing, right? He has badge. So instead of like fouling or whatever. Which, if he hits a slip early right here, they probably score. But obviously, he has badge, so he wants to score. The big thing here is, like, we're basically going to run a rotation, right? So we run kings. Super easy, right? Dini stays, I go, he drops, he goes to the hash. We're just a regular kings, what I showed y'all earlier. But the thing, what makes Raph so elite is Raph makes sure he gets back into play no matter what. So all this is going to happen now. We call this reverse because everybody's just going back to where they were. So as you've seen, Dini was on pick and roll. He steps. I went from the corner to the paint. He was on the hash, and he went, to the corner. And then obviously he got beat, but he went to the hash. So reverse, everybody's gonna go back to the way they were. So Raph is gonna go here. He's going back to the ball. He's coming back up here, this is probably gonna be your still spot. This is what Raph always says. We're ready to press a button right here because like this is usually your still spot. I'm gonna stay in the paint for a minute, but I'm gonna get to like this right block where I can play this sweet spot in the corner, so Glenn can get back up, and Dini's just gonna drop back. So all we're gonna see here. Let me put this back. Is we call the reverse, boom, boom, and obviously Glenn didn't steal it, but like we get a block, whatever, we get a jump ball. But I want y'all to really look like whenever we do this, is like we call the we do the first thing and he calls the reverse. You see him go, and you see where the center is kind of caught in no man's land. It's the perfect time when the center comes back up is when you run this, when you call this. All right, if you have like a power forward on ball, you have your shooting guard on ball. You have your basically when your lockdown's on the hash, you can call this a lot. And you call a reverse, and boom, Dini's gonna get back to the paint. I'm getting back to the corner. Glenn's getting back to the hash, and Glenn really had a free steal if he presses a button, but we'll take the block anyway. Because if you see this, look, he threw. That's what basically what Raph always says is like Raph is real big about like this pass right here because that's usually where it's gonna go. And Glenn obviously gets a FaceTime, pick up the phone, whatever, but we end up getting a stop regardless. But that's reverse, so. Reverse. I'm not gonna spell it all out because I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not gonna make myself look dumb because I don't even know no better. But yeah, there's that, right? There's reverse. The last, is this a red? Yeah, this is a red. So I had a lot of people ask me like, when do you run a red? When's the perfect time to run a red? When do you get out of the red? How do you beat a red? Whatever. The biggest thing I could tell y'all, right? When you run a red, especially on the defensive end, you have Dini here. Obviously, you're going to be a pick and roll defender. I'm obviously here. Raph is going to be on this side. And obviously, you want to have Glenn more shade in the middle. Basically, a red is just a double team. We call it, I don't know why it's called red. I think it was like one of the national teams called it that. But basically, the big thing about this is Raph can't get beat wing and Glenn can't get beat middle because it's basically just a double, right? We want the center. Basically, when you have a center that you kind of want to have the ball, you want them to make plays, which we wanted Itachi to get the ball right here. So like we wanted to speed them up. We wanted him to get the ball. So all we're gonna do is whenever this guy, he has to pass this free throw line. When he gets about right here, it's the same thing about the press. Like whenever you release the press, it's about right here. That's when we're gonna release because I can still play basically this hash and this corner if he gets there. Whenever that happens, we're gonna release and we'll see what happens. So obviously we release, he catches the ball, free stop. No matter what, it's a free stop. If you run red the right way, you can get you can get all the point guards out of rhythm, whatever. Basically, it's good for like we were playing Short Texas Goon. Dude is a real good scorer. He likes to score the ball. He's not a real good passer, but he's a good scorer. We run this red. Basically, he resets these, tells him to go straight down. He hits him, right. That's when Dini left, right? You see where he left? Right where I told y'all. Right on this elbow. He leaves. We get a free stop. Our ball. We're going the other way. I think about to beat the red, right? This is how you beat the red. If you want to be like, a good point guard or whatever, you have to kind of know what to do in these rotations or whatnot. Sorry, man, I've been sick. Basically, whenever the red happens, you want your guy, your shooting guard, to kind of move a little bit, not too much, because you don't want him to run on top of him. And you want your point guard to fight this middle so it creates a lane. It creates basically this lane to this corner. Because if he throws this pass from here to here, Dini can steal it and I can maybe steal it, right? So you want your point guard to kind of create a lane right here, around this area to create a lane. You can also, if you hit your center real early, if you hit him early and he makes that pass to that hash or this corner, either one that's basically that slow rotation on, that's usually the best thing. People would run reds on greens, what I would do is, I would catch the first one right here on the elbow. So I would catch it. Oh, let me erase all this. I would catch this ball. I would just stand right here and I would just dot this right here, because they don't really release it until after you roll. So you can catch this and just dot it, because this guy, once he catches it, he knows he's going to get back to this corner. Another thing too is after you catch it once and say you dot this hash, you're gonna play it. You can kind of throw a pass back depending on if your point guard throws it to you right here and he relocates back to this middle because like the lockdown's playing that hash heavy, you usually have a pass back too. So like all my centers out there, it's like, oh, I don't know what to do when he goes to the red. You don't want the biggest thing you don't want to do is you don't want to slip into a bad spot, right? You don't want to slip over here. You don't want to just catch it and go straight up, kind of what Itachi did. But you want to be able to make a play in a spot, right? As Itachi, he just catches this and he's going straight up no matter what. And, that's what we want. We get a stop. But if you can catch the ball and you can kind of see the play break down whenever he catches it. So if Itachi just dots this right here, boom. If he just takes what's there, he throws this pass right here like I was telling you, right at the elbow, it's a free 3. Because I basically have to guess. Like, I have to make a decision if he's going to throw it here or here. So, regardless, if he would have made the pass, it's a free 3. But that's kind of like how you beat it. And you see, I think, who's this? This is Glenn. Yeah, he's mad late to get to this hash. So, as you can see, obviously we get to stop, whatever. What else do we got here for y'all? I got 2 more clips. What is this? Kings? Oh, yeah, another Kings. I like this. Okay. So let me back it up. So basically, right, this is like a Kings that it's super, super like it's just kind of chemistry. Usually in a Kings, right, like I told y'all before, Dini's going to be stepping middle. But right here, he steps hash and just kind of gets back. Well, I show Glenn. Glenn gets there late because he throws his pass, whatever. Dini gets to the hash, right? He reaches for it, whatever. 9 seconds. You see everybody's kind of scrambling. I show for that hash for a minute. We get back, whatever. It's kind of just instincts. The big thing, though, you'll have to realize is, if you're going to step at even if you're, like, getting to the paint, if you're going to step, right, you see where Glenn is to start this. I hate how I can't play this while this happens. But, right, he has that pump fake. Obviously, if he would have hit it on time, it would have been open. But once Dini kind of realizes I'm here, he just takes a V-line basically to the hash. Even though he stepped hash, he basically got over there because Glenn, it's like a delayed, basically Kings in a sense. So there's nothing really to it, man. It's just like a lot of this is just being able to help the helper. I feel like a lot of people in 2K, they're always worried about, my man, whatever. I feel like if guys would kind of understand the value of team defense, the value of rotations, the value of using, see how small this court is? Like, the court is tiny. So if you be able to shrink this court, you make the center make more than one read. We take away his first read. Glenn gets there late. They're locked down, dribbling the ball with 10 seconds left. That's what we want. And then we still have our lockdown on their best player, on their point guard. So that's the big thing basically with that. And then, Red the Kings. I love this. So, who are we playing right here? Okay. So we are playing, same team. So we're playing Cooks, which is a top 5 pick. Johnny Red, top 5 pick. Oreo obviously plays for the Cavs. Peroxide's played for a bunch of good teams in the league. Obviously a top power forward. And then Lex, which is a good lock. So this team's good. Like, the teams we're running these rotations against. So obviously this is the regular press. Usually too, if you're gonna run a red out of the press, you want your basically your center, your front court player. So 3 guard wouldn't really work, but you want your center kind of to be the guy on the hash because he can guard more area. He can basically guard more lanes. He can do more out of that hash situation. Basically, just being in the way. So Johnny Red, we're basically running a red. As you can see, you see how Raph exaggerates this. Raph makes him go middle. You see how? I gotta go back because that was a lead. But I want y'all to see how much Raph exaggerates it. See, and we hide it really well too. That's another thing about Raph too, which he's really, really good at is Crush will hide something super well. You see how middle he is? He calls this red and he's like, hey, this is what we're doing, blah, blah, whatever. And I want you to see, like, actually peep how far he goes to, like, exaggerate this red. So he gets all the way over here. Make sure that he cannot go to the swing. Pushes him back to his help, boom. And I want y'all to see this. So obviously, boom, all right, bet the red worked, right? The point of the red, too, is not always to get a stop. It's to make them slow the game down, right? So it went from having 18 seconds to 14. Now he has no screen. He's going to come back up. So he doesn't get a screen until 13 seconds. All right, I love this, too. So also, too, big rule of thumb. If the guy is holding the screen, the center, you can play as high as you want. I hope you understand that, right? Because Cooks has already done his dribble move. Oreo can't slip yet because he was holding the screen. It's a free Kings. So he throws it early. I just get dogged out. But look, boom, I reach because I'm terrible. But it's a free Kings. That's another thing a lot of people don't understand is, like, I know y'all think, lockdown should be able to fight through everything, blah, blah, whatever. If the guy is setting the screen at limitless, like if he's 2 or 3 steps off that line, get up there and double that point guard and make those, because everybody has a big center now. So make those centers slip. Make them think. And as you can see with me and Dini, we are super we don't care who's dropping, whatever. We don't care anything. Like we kind of just go off each other. And as you can see right here, like obviously I don't get a stop, but like Dini just steps because he seems drafted clip, but he's up. Boom, free kings. Dini just gets that hash, easy one. And another thing too is like if Oreo dotted this, like he would have got confused because obviously Dini and Raph almost get confused here. But the big thing here is like Glenn holds this hash long enough to where they can't throw it to Johnny right away. Boom, gets to my corner. So if he throws it to Luck, it's gonna be a late pass. We live with it. But yeah, that's all I really got for y'all. I think I'm gonna start coming out with more videos. I got a couple other videos I want to come out with, but this was the main one. I know a lot of people wanted a part 2 to that first video. Kind of showed y'all a different press, showed y'all a couple different rotations, a couple different defenses y'all can throw at people. And for people that are kind of like new to the Proam scene, new to like comp and whatnot, if you're like trying to come up, you need to know these rotations, right? You need to know how to, if you're a power forward, you need to know where to go. If somebody calls it a rotation, even if they don't call it kings, they can call it whatever you want. You can call any of these rotations whatever you want. It's just what I call them. But yeah, man, it's just simple stuff, and I promise y'all's team defense, whatever team you're on, it's gonna get 10 times better. Y'all's defense as a whole, your lockdown doesn't have to be Superman anymore. Y'all can just kind of trust each other and kind of just play off each other. That's all I really got for y'all. Anything else y'all want, please comment down below. Tell me what you want to see. Tell me if you want me to break down game film. You want me to show y'all how to do this, how to do that, whatever it is. I'm gonna try to get back into it. Start to give y'all more videos like this instead of just Proam gameplay. But I appreciate everybody came by. Give me a like, comment, whatever, all that good stuff they all say. And I'll see y'all boys next time.